Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. It's incredible. There's like 6 things today that normally would just be a lead story. But let's start with Theo Von. His fans are worried. Last week, Theo was recording his Netflix special at the Beacon Theater. It is being described as a brutal showcase filled with gaffes and embarrassing moments. People in the audience said Theo halted his performance as many as 10 times throughout the nights, that Theo frequently left the stage, asked a producer to remind him of punchlines, and Theo struggled to finish stories. Some people that were there said a third of the crowd left before the show ended. And again, this isn't just a regular show. This is a Netflix taping. There are clips on social media circulating. I'm choosing not to play it, but in it, Theo says, "I'm having a long month, and I'm trying not to take my own life." It's unclear how serious he was or if he was joking with the audience. And everyone, remember, if you're struggling, you're not alone. Help is available. Call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988 anytime, day or night. Comments shared with Men's Journal called the night a roller coaster. One audience member said Theo had to pause the show to ask for the punchline several times. Another audience member said he seemed unrehearsed and disorganized, repeating bits multiple times, clearly trying to get it right for the camera. This killed the vibe in the theater. Another said it took Theo 6 times to get through one anecdote and that Theo appeared exhausted and anxious. Hope everything is okay there. David Letterman was on the Barbara Gaines show. That is the deliberately, simply produced YouTube thing that Dave will pop on. He called Jimmy Kimmel's first monologue word perfect, describing it as funny, powerful, and moving. Letterman then turned his attention to President Donald Trump, who had called David Letterman overrated and a loser. Dave had this to say.
But boy, the cowardice that is on display now. And here, now this is just my thought. Do you want to hear any of it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And I can't verify this. This is just how I feel. This is just what it looks like to me. People seem to be stunned when things like this happen. And I am so tired of people being stunned by things like this because we have a pretty good history of being stunned by this guy. And the reason he continues to behave this way, not because he wants to stun us, but because he's a dictator. And dictators do things like this. I think the question we need to ask ourselves now is, what exactly are we going to do about this?
Nimesh Patel pulled out of the Riyadh Comedy Festival. He posted this on social media. I've got some comments on the back end.
Hey, it's me, Nimesh Patel. Assalamu alaikum. No, I am not attending the Riyadh Comedy Festival. I was slated to attend. I initially had accepted the offer, but I canceled last week after having a change of heart. I was going to cancel quietly, but then the event went viral in the last 2 days, and now I feel like people are tagging me. I have to explain myself at least a little bit. No, I'm not attending. I just figured, you know what? I'll just do 40 shows that I had not planned on doing here in the perfectly clean, moral, above everyone else, United States of America. I'm tired just thinking about it, to make up for the lost bag. So that's what I'll do. I'm going to do 40 shows that I had not planned on doing, that haven't even been launched yet, that we're now trying to figure out between now and the end of the year, to make up for the lost bag before my theater tour kicks off. So if you want to hear my rationale, come out to those shows whenever they are, or come out to the theater tour. In joke form, I'll explain why I decided not to go. Because this clip was not funny at all. My sincerity is so stupid. Man. All right, I gotta go prep for this Chechnyan comedy festival that I'm doing. All right, enjoy the rest of your lives. All right, hope to see you. I'm not going. Sorry to the people of Saudi. I very much would have appreciated performing for you guys. I know you're all good people over there, and I know I have some fans over there, and hopefully you remain fans, and hopefully you understand. All right, deuces.
Mr. Patel, that's a bad look. You're just, I get it. You want to get paid, then get paid. Don't guilt us that you got to do 40 shows now. Not a good look at all by Nimesh Patel. Atsuko Okatska revealed that she turned down the Riyadh Comedy Festival and shared the details of the offer. She went on social media and posted a screenshot of the offer she allegedly received to perform at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. In her post, Atsuko noted that the booking came with censorship rules. She wrote, "The money's coming straight from the Crown Prince, who actively executes journalists, people with non-lethal drug offenses, bloggers, etc., without due process. A lot of the you can't say anything anymore comedians are doing the festival. They had to appear to censorship rules about the types of jokes they can make." Atsuko shared a screenshot of content restrictions from the alleged offer. The document she shared reads, "Artists shall not prepare or perform any material that may be considered to degrade, defame, or bring into public disrepute, contempt, scandal, embarrassment, or ridicule A, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, including its leadership, public figures, culture, or people, B, the Saudi royal family, legal system, or government, and C, any religious tradition, religious figure, or religious practice." Man, can you imagine a leader of a country trying to stop comedians from making fun of its leadership or public figures or certain people? Can't imagine that happening, and I mean, I live in the United States of America. That would never happen here. Tonight at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, Ali Siddiq brings whip-smart storytelling. Expect observational riffs, crowd work, and slow-burning stories that land big. Pete Davidson was on Theo's podcast last week, and he called out the internet for turning on Pedro Pascal. Pete said 2 years ago, he's a hard-working, great actor. Everyone was like, he's worked so hard and has been a struggling actor. He blows up. I'm paraphrasing as Pete used several F words in this. Pedro blows up so bleeping hard. Everyone's like, daddy, daddy, yeah, daddy, daddy. Then a year later, he's in everything now because he's hot and big, and everyone's like, go the F away, dude. You got to give someone that time to adjust to a new level of fame. He's been banging at it for 30 years, and now he's learning how to go get a cup of coffee or like deal with someone that taps you on the shoulder while you have your earbuds in and freaks you out. You got to give that guy a second to adjust. It's like we build everybody up. It's like so fast to turn on the celebrity. The turn is crazy. Pete then suggested that social media is going to do it with Walton Goggins next. It's like within months. Walton Goggins saw this and responded on Instagram. Walton Goggins writes, "I saw this article and had to respond. Pete was talking about his own experience. Pete, we don't know each other, but I appreciate the heads up. We agree on one thing. Pedro Pascal isn't a good man. He's a great man, a dear friend of mine. As a 53-year-old, I'm acutely aware that every experience has a shelf life. I appreciate so many of you going on this journey with me. I imagine that a lot of you, and I don't blame you, are tired of hearing my homilies. Trust me, I'm tired of saying them. I have a few things coming out that I have an obligation to talk about. Not for me, mind you, but to honor all those that work so hard to bring these stories to fruition. So, if you see something with my name on it, I encourage you not to click on it, unless you want to, and if you do, I appreciate the support. See, to me, being included in this headline isn't a curse, it's a blessing. How lucky am I that this is even a possibility? I've had the good fortune of engaging in so many interesting conversations with so many of you, of collaborating with so many top-shelf people across so many disciplines over the last couple of years, way more than a poor kid from Georgia would ever have the audacity to imagine. I wouldn't take one back. So, if saying yes in life more than saying no is a crime, then I'm guilty as charged." Walton Goggins then added, "If this headline is a possibility or an inevitability, if this is my fate, well, F it. I'm going to enjoy the, all caps, F out of it." Heather McMahon, what are you doing? So Heather McMahon was hosting like PGA coverage over the weekend. She stepped away from Sunday's coverage and apologized to golfer Rory McIlroy for a vulgar chant. The PGA of America put out a statement, which reads, "Heather has extended an apology to Rory McIlroy and Ryder Cup Europe and a step down from hosting the first tee of the Ryder Cup." You see, Heather McMahon was captured on social media starting an F you Rory chant into a megaphone at the first tee of the event. She was trying to get the U.S. crowd amped up. What are you doing? That's just stupid. You're there, you're hosting the coverage, and you're going to start an F you chant? What is wrong with you? My dog is here. I got to tell people about what's happening on late night TV. We can't go out right now. We've been out 3 times in the last hour. You got to chillax. Conan O'Brien was on Stephen Colbert last night. I got to tell the people about this, doggy. Now, what am I supposed to do? Are you going to make me hit pause? But what about Conan O'Brien on Stephen Colbert? Can't this wait 2 minutes? All right. I guess we'll be right back. I'm laughing. So I did pause, and I'm looking at the wave that I can see these big, giant spikes in the audio. Where were we? Oh, the dog did need to go out, by the way. I'll leave it at that. Conan O'Brien was on with Colbert last night. Now, that's an interesting twist in the late night wars, and I'll cover that tomorrow. I got to relax with the bonus episodes. I mean, I don't want you guys to be like, another episode? So back to normal schedules here. But that's interesting in the late night wars because Jimmy Kimmel is in Brooklyn this week. Now, on Tuesday night, Colbert and Kimmel are going on each other's shows. Kimmel and Colbert will tape in Brooklyn. Then they're going to head to the Ed Sullivan Theater for Colbert's taping. So is Kimmel recording like in the middle of the afternoon? That's interesting, right? Because Colbert probably tapes at 5:30. So we actually have to record the show. You got to commute from Brooklyn to Midtown Manhattan. No easy thing at rush hour. I also am curious how that affects Colbert's prep, right? Because, normally he'd be around right before the taping, but he's going to head to Brooklyn. So he's got to start his day earlier, but then he has to change his mindset for 2-3 hours and then get back into hosting mode. That's just interesting as somebody who's been in the media for 30 years. There is something to be said for the mindset. Earthquake special is out on Netflix today. It is called Joke Telling Business. He had a previous Dave Chappelle produced special back in 2022. By the way, I've been Googling like Bill Burr Riyadh, Dave Chappelle Riyadh. No news coming out of there. Earthquake tells UATL.com there wouldn't be no earthquake if it wasn't for Atlanta. Atlanta's where I learned to tell a joke. I'm still eating off the lesson of the blessings I received when I moved there in 91. I went to Atlanta because CNN said this was the best place to come if you were an African-American looking for a good job to prosper. I'd never been to Atlanta. I just went off that recommendation and stepped out on stage one day and kept going, and I haven't gotten off since. He was initially frustrated when one of the premier Atlanta venues for black comics wouldn't let him perform. Mom suggested he open his own comedy club. She said, "You know what I told you when you were little? If somebody don't let you ride their bike, go get your own bike." I told her I couldn't have my own comedy club, and she said, "Why not?" So that's what I did. He opened Uptown Comedy Corner in Buckhead in 1992. Mr. Quake is currently developing a half-hour sitcom based on his life for Fox. And I've been telling you about the Legion of Cool Comedians. These are comedians doing really cool things like Jim Gaffigan selling bourbon or Tom Papa's bread products or even Sebastian Maniscalco hawking pizza ovens when he's not at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Anyway, Ben Stiller has gotten into low-calorie sodas. That's right. It's Stiller's Soda. How cool is that? Does he make a cola? Because you could take some Jim Gaffigan bourbon, maybe put a little cola in it and have like a really cool drink. Well, the answer is Stiller's Soda comes in lemon lime, Shirley Temple, and root beer. So I'm not sure how that's going to mix with the bourbon. We're told the collection brings in inspiration from Ben Stiller's childhood growing up in New York City, which makes it sound like Ben Stiller grew up in the 1930s. He's 3 years older than me, so let's relax with the old-timey sodas. You grew up drinking cans of Coke, dude. Ben Stiller told people that it was important to him to create a drink that tasted like soda, but where you don't feel like you're putting bad stuff in your body. I don't drink, so I love having an option for soda for something to drink for adults too when you're out. Ben Stiller's a great dad, just like Adam Sandler. He got his kids involved with the product. Ben Stiller said of his son, "When he asked to have a second lemon lime because he liked it so much, I felt like we were on the right track." We're told his daughter has tried the sodas and approves of them too. Ben says the idea of having a healthy soda for kids, I think, is something that's important to us too, something that parents can give their kids and not feel bad about it. A 12-pack of Stiller's Soda, $30. That's $2.50 a can. Ben Stiller, welcome to the Legion of Cool Comedians. And that is your comedy news for today. See you tomorrow.